Bonjour, mon amis. Welcome back to the Ostrich King. It is I, Pierre Exotique, here today from the farm. And today on the show, we are going to be talking about ostriches. And well,
Freeze! FBI! Everyone on the ground!
it wasn't me! I'm being framed by that bitch Carol Baskin!
Sir, put your hands behind your back and step away from the ostrich. Don't worry, little buddy. You're gonna be all right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Good Times with Bad Movies. I'm Tim Morrison, joined as always by my co-host, Paul.
And then...
Ireland. Paul, how you doing?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to collect myself here. I'm fantastic, Tim. How are you today, sir?
I'm great, Paul.
That was a fantastic intro. This is great. You know, you got to start the new year off on just a strong note. I think that's a great way to start off here, Tim.
A strong note and a bad movie.
That's exactly what we're getting into today.
This week, we did Dude, Where's My Car? Came out in 2000, distributed by 20th Century Fox.
Yeah. And, you know, watching this, it was like, this was a real trip down horrible movie lane.
Oh, yeah. Well, we sort of just some kind of background info. We sort of tried this a while ago and kind of for one of our demo episodes that we never released. So overall, I've watched this movie far more over the course of like a year and a half than anyone ever should see this movie.
Over the last 2 years, we've probably watched this movie about 14 times total between us.
Yeah. Yeah. And it didn't get better every time either. It was...
No, I stopped on the last one. I was like, I got the picture. All right, we're good.
So this movie is called Dude, Where's My Car? In case you can't guess what this movie is about, it is about two potheads wake up after a night of partying and cannot remember where they parked their car.
They don't leave too much of a mystery in the title there, do they? You know what? It's funny too, actually. Maybe this is not funny. This is actually kind of sad. When I was going to watch this movie, right? I was looking up on iTunes because I couldn't find it anywhere. I think they took it off Amazon. It was on there for a minute, right? Of course, when we go to do this again, it's not on there. And I got to pay $4 for this movie and waste my time and my life. But that's okay. But I just typed in, in the search button, I typed in Dude, Where? And then there was probably about 3-4 movies that came up. There was like Dude, Where's My Hamster? Dude, Where's My Goat? Dude, Where's My Dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, what are all these movies? So I don't know if, and I don't have time to get into it because I was like, this is just a rabbit hole I have to go down on another day when I have more time. But, I'm just wondering if these are weird spoof movies off of it, or...
I checked out Dude, Where's My Dog? Just because curiosity got the better of me.
It's an interesting title.
It seems to have absolutely nothing to do with this movie except that this boy has lost his dog and he's trying to find it.
Dude, where's my dog? I don't know, kid. All right. I wonder if it's that I don't know the director's name, but there's one of those guys out there and he makes movies that it's like Transformers, but it's
Transmorphers.
Exactly, right? So he just makes movies that kind of the same, but they're not the same.
Android Cop.
Yeah, you think you're buying the right movie and it's just like some ripoff that's horrible, right?
Yeah, their whole system, their whole scheme is based on tricking people into buying and renting their movies.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I wonder if that's what this was, right? They're just like, make Dude, where's my dog? Someone will buy that. They're like, oh, okay, yeah. Or it's like one of those really bad memes. It's like the Wish, or it's like, Dad, can we get Dude, Where's My Car? It's like, we have Dude, Where's My Car at home. And it's like, Dude, Where's My Dog? Or something. But I don't know. Yeah, we don't really need to dance around this movie too much. Like this, might as well just plow ahead and get into this whole mess. What do you think, Tim? Ready to find this car?
Zoltan! So this movie begins with a text on the screen that says, this movie is based on actual events. Spoiler, it's not. This movie's not overly funny and it tries really hard, so I think that was just their first swing at it.
Yeah, I guess so. This is what, 2000 this came out, right? So
yes, 2000.
Pretty goofy, stupid humor, I guess. I don't know. I think this is weird. I think this was supposed to be catered to kids, like teenagers and kids. Because this was on TBS a lot. I just remembered. I'd be watching TV and this movie would be on all the time. And as we go through this, we're going to find out this movie is probably not for somebody who's 13 years old.
No, it's a little all over the place. So we get a late 90s, early 2000s Smash Mouth song. I don't know what it's called, but it just really reminds me of that time. And I don't know if you've seen any YouTube videos of Smash Mouth lately, but look them up if you haven't. They haven't aged very well. I could go off on a whole other thing, but it's their lead singer's gone downhill like really bad.
Hey, you're a nice guy.
I hate that song so much.
No.
It's right up there with like old time rock and roll.
Yeah, that's like, every wedding. Anyways.
Yeah. So we start off with this intro. It's almost like a little bit of a music video where the camera is kind of just panning around at different parts of space. And we're seeing a bunch of different characters, a whole bunch of like, what looks like a quadruple or quartet of twins dancing. Just a whole bunch of characters that we're going to meet in the movie, so I'm not going to bother going over them too much. There's some ostriches and a really bad CGI dancing cat that's like a sexy cat. It's really bizarre. And then we just quickly cut to this really filthy house with Ashton Kutcher and Seann William Scott. These are our two dudes in the movie, our two main characters, and they're idiots. They're also stoners. They kind of mention that in the synopsis. However, it's not really clear, other than that they're just dumb. Because we'll find out they only smoke weed once in this movie.
I mean, I'm not going to spoil it. We'll get there, but it's like I don't even think they smoke weed. They just kind of there's like 2-3 points in this movie where people call them stoners, and then everything else it's like it's kind of implied that they're stoners. That's all you kind of get out of this whole thing. So. Yeah, this whole movie is very mixed with its messaging. We're going to see here.
Jesse and Chester, right? His name's Chester?
Yep. Jesse is Kelso, and Chester is, what's his face?
Seann William Scott. Stifler.
That's right. Stifler is Chesler. Stifler is Chester. Yeah, Jesse is Kelso. JK. That's how you remember that. Jesse Kelso.
Right.
JK.
And he basically is Kelso from that 70s show. His character is almost not different at all.
It's a 2000s Kelso. Exactly. Yes, absolutely. This is it. He's just a Kelso. Just a complete moron.
So these two have woken up after a long night of partying, and they don't really remember the night at all. And they're kind of just looking around the apartment, and they see a lifetime supply of pudding stacked in the cupboards. And there's also a random guy whom they don't know that like kind of just comes out while they're sitting on the couch. This guy walks out behind them and just starts peeing in a plant.
Yeah, I think his name is Gene. It's so weird.
They look at each other and like, do you know Gene? He's like, no, I thought you did.
Yeah, I think that's like, it's almost like Guy on the Couch. Like it's like a ripoff of like Half Baked or something. But they were like, we'll have a guy in a closet. You know, it's kind of like halfway between Dave Chappelle and R. Kelly, you know?
Yeah. So Jesse and Chester here decided they're going to start playing Thumb Wars. So they put on their army helmets and sit there and start playing Thumb Wars on the couch. And while they're playing, they're listening to their answering machine, and they hear their girlfriends, whom they refer to as the twins. I guess they're both dating sisters, and they realize that their anniversary is today, and they need to retrieve their gifts that they got for them out of their car. And you can sort of see where this is going.
Absolutely. That's right. And if they don't get these, if they don't find their gifts, then the girlfriends threaten them to not give them their, quote, special treats, which, you know, we I guess, you know, in this movie, and they kind of basically say it, they seem to think that it's some sort of sexual favor, apparently, they're going to get if they can find these presents that are in their car.
That's right. Got to get them treats.
That's an interesting euphemism.
Yeah, so they go outside of the house here, their home, and they're looking for the car. And then we get this moment here.
Dude, where's my car? Where's your car, dude? Dude, where's my car? Where's your car, dude? Dude, where's my car?
So Jesse and Chester here decide that the best way for them to try and revive their memories is to retrace their steps from the night before to see if they can sort of jog their memory a little bit. And their first idea to do that is to go and hang out with their buddy. I can't remember his name, but basically he's kind of like a stoner guru, and he's gonna smoke weed with them, and I guess that's gonna fix everything.
His name's Nelson.
Nelson, that's right, yeah. Before they leave, though, Jesse and Chester here are standing on the side of the road, and they decide that they're gonna hitchhike to Nelson's house. And Chester decides to walk out first, and sees this old lady. I can't remember what her name is. What is it?
Mrs. Krabbelman.
Yeah, Mrs. Krabbelman, somewhere on the street. And he flags her down, like smiling and waving, like, hey, can I get a drive? And she smiles and then just like steps on the gas and runs Chester over. And then Jesse here decides to do the exact same thing, and the exact same thing happens. Only this time I think it's a guy that's driving down the street.
Yeah. It's an old man and his wife.
Yeah. Jesse and Chester have just both been hit by a car, and they decide that they'll just walk there.
Yeah, they're both well respected in the senior citizens community. It sounds like. And I just wondered this too, like what? So I know that apparently they kind of work at a pizza shop or something, but like how do they afford to live? Because these guys are idiots. Like I just don't, do they? I just don't understand this.
Well, a lot of it doesn't make sense. Like, we'll get into that more. I mean, I don't understand how they even have girlfriends.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, I guess so. This is just a movie. So, anyways,
they're smoking weed with Nelson. He talks like Yoda, and I think it's supposed to be funny, but Yoda jokes have been done for the past like 50 years.
Well, I think now too. Yeah, we're kind of oversaturated with Star Wars stuff. So I think now it's like oh yeah, you did Yoda. That's fun. That's original, right? But this guy's hat, like it's like this weird like safari sun hat thing. He looks like a goof, and he's got like these giant mutton chops. He's kind of like Rob Schneider, but like a low rent Rob Schneider. He's got a dog named Jackal, and this dog is actually the only person in this movie that seems like they smoke weed explicitly in the movie. Everyone else, like I said, this is sort of just implied that they're stoners. But this dog Jackal has a little pipe, and if you touch this pipe, he will basically turn into a rabid, like a dingo or something, and just starts like snarling and drooling, and just like, don't mess with this dog's weed. I guess that's the main plot point there, I guess.
Yeah, it's like weed is like the only thing that gets this dog going at all. Because I guess aside from that, he just looks like he's dead until you bring out his pipe.
The hell's wrong with this person? Just like a PSA. Don't let your dog smoke weed, guys. Come on, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, don't get your dogs high.
What's wrong with you people?
After they smoke the weed, they're hungry, so they decide they're going to go through a Chinese food restaurant drive-through. This restaurant is called Chinese Restaurant, I think, by the way. It's not very creative. If you know anything from Dude, Where's My Car, it's this scene that you probably know of. They're in the drive-through, and Jesse is ordering, and she says, and then, and he goes on to continue the order to, and then, he goes, oh, then I'd like some wonton soup, and he goes, and then, some fortune cookies, and it just keeps going on like that, and then he's until the point where she won't stop saying, and he gets into a fight with the intercom speaker.
And then.
Admittedly, this is a little bit funny. It's very dated, and as Paul and I have said, we've watched this together, like collectively together, probably like 12 to 15 times. So it's funny, but
you're just fed up with this at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't compensate for the rest of this at all.
You're just like, geez, stop. Please stop saying and then. Please, for the love of God.
But it is fascinating to me that this is the joke that stuck. Like, even a lot of people who don't know Dude, Where's My Car have probably heard of this little joke. This and then at the Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, well, I mean, like they really hammer this in. There's like, I think in the original episode you said this was like 40 times or something that they said this. So this is I think they're just ingraining it in your brain at that point. This was like almost like that Was Up commercial, the Budweiser one. That Was Up. That's kind of like, this is the same era where it's just like loud, aggressive, obnoxious jokes like that. Yeah, that you're just like, all right, what's up? And then you're like, okay, all right, thanks, man. Stop. This is a nightmare living this over again. Why did we do this?
Yeah, right after that, Nelson kicks them out of the car because Jesse made a slanderous remark against the Dalai Lama. He called him a so you can use your imagination as to what that is.
the other F
word. So they're here on the sidewalk now outside of a store or something. And now they're trying to figure out what their next move is. And this very attractive girl that they know of, like they went to school with her or something. She's in the community. Her name is Christy Boner. At first, I thought it was Crispy Boner, like the first time I watched this.
Oh my God! Someone burnt it. What's going on here? No, I just love the guy. There's a construction worker in the back who's on his jackhammer. Apparently, he's just like I don't know what he's doing. He's just having a good time watching this girl. He clearly hits a water main as she walks by, and just he has this big sigh of relief on his face. It's just like again, I know this is really dumb and juvenile, but there's just something about that that's so funny. And her name is Christy Boner. That's right. And obviously, Tim, I mean, we both know who Christy Boner is. I don't think we can let this go without explaining who she is.
Who is she, Paul?
She is the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
That's right.
That is Christy Swanson.
That's right.
That's right.
I forgot. I need you to jog my memory there, but yes, that's right. Yeah, she's
No
the
worries.
original Buffy the Vampire
Yes.
Slayer from the
OG Buffy.
from like the first Buffy movie, I think in like 1990 or something like that.
Yeah. That movie was really fun. I really liked that movie, actually. That was great.
So Christy Boner here is talking about last night, and they're like surprised, and because they don't remember anything, and she's like, "Don't you remember like me being in the back of the car with you? You know, you gave me $500 out of your briefcase of cash, and I let you see my hoo-hoos." She refers to her breasts as hoo-hoos. I know that's not very far off from Hooters, but like, isn't hoo-hoos? Isn't that like some kind of a sweet pastry or something?
I think those are ho-hos.
Like a Joe Louis. Oh, ho-hos. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But I know what you're saying. Yeah, that's why I said earlier, I really think this was kind of marketed in a way for like children. They really tried hard to make this a PG-13 rating because they've cut so much stuff and they've changed all the language to hoo-hoos, this dumb, made-up, goofy, like juvenile terms.
But then at the same time, you know, she's accepting $500 for sexual favors too. So it's like, you know, who is this for?
Yeah, and then as we're gonna see in like a scene or two ahead of this, like again, who the hell is this for? But regardless, Christy is kind of jogging Jesse's memory here, and she, grabs his hand and guides it towards her hoo-hoo. And so he's sitting there with this big old smile on his face, and this truck pulls up, and this guy Tommy gets out of the truck. Okay, and Tommy is a jock, and he's got a gang of like goons with him, sort of like Biff in Back to the Future. That's kind of what these guys are, except the one guy doesn't have those weird future glasses, and they're in the 60s or 50s or whatever it was. Sorry, but anyway,
he's a community bully.
Yeah, so this guy's just a total goon, right? And he walks up to Chris, and he's like, "Hey, are these guys bothering you?" And this always stood out to me that like this guy, okay, he's walking up to Jesse and Chester. One guy has his hand on his girlfriend's breast, okay, at this point, right in front of him. And he's like, "Are these guys bothering you?" But if this guy's a goon, to me, he would have instantly seen that and just leveled these guys. Like, it would have been over. You know, if you're the bully, especially if these guys are losers to you, like you're not going to tolerate that long.
No, this relationship isn't going to work out.
Jesse and Chester, they get garbage cans dumped on them by the bullies, and they kind of shove them off the side, and the bullies and Christy Boner drive away into the sunset. And Jesse and Chester are walking down the street now, and they're just still trying to like piece everything together. They still don't really know what the hell's going on. So Chester looks in one of his pockets, and he pulls out a pack of matches, and the matches say on it Kitty Cat Club with a very weird, sexy cat on it. And of course, we are going to fade over to the Kitty Cat Club, which we're going to find out in about 3 seconds is a pretty raucous strip club. And it's this. Okay, so this is also the next morning, it seems like to me. So I'm like, at best, I'm going to say this is like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And this place is just bumping with like 15 strippers.
They're all lined up beside each other, 15 of them, and they each have a pitcher of water, and it's all for Chester. As soon as they walk in, they're like, "Hey, Chester and Jesse," and they just dump the pitchers of water on their chests. So they had like a wet T-shirt lineup, I guess.
Well, it's just like, I guess my biggest question is just like, how is this place so busy at like a Tuesday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon? You know what I mean? Like, granted, let's say it's a weekend. So maybe it's a Sunday. Maybe it's a Saturday.
Could be a Saturday.
Right? Yeah. Maybe it's a Saturday, but it's still the morning time, and there's like people in there having drinks, and there's like a guy in like a suit, and there's just like women everywhere.
People on their lunch breaks.
I guess so. This is just a big area of somewhere where they just really are supporting the stripper community.
So this one stripper in particular eyes up Jesse and says, "Do you remember last night you were here and I gave you a super special slippery wet lap dance?" And he's like, "I don't remember, but, if you can jog my memory, that would help." And she's like, "All right, I'll take you in the back." So Jesse is in the back here. He's very eager in his chair, waiting this lap dance from Tanya. Bear in mind, this is a good 21 years ago. So, we're just quoting this movie and giving you a rundown of what happens and trying to do it in the most politically correct way as possible. So Tanya here is Tanya here is about to give him his lap dance. And then kind of just out of nowhere, she just gets a very serious look on her face, and her voice drops about 5 octaves. And here's Tanya right before they go into the back.
Hi, Chester. Hi, Jesse. Did you guys enjoy yourselves last night?
And then here's Tanya when she gets very serious alone with Jesse.
What the hell are you thinking, throwing around my money like that? That wasn't part of the plan. Last night I had the 2 of you sneak a suitcase of stolen money out of the club.
Jesse is very confused at this. And he's like, what's going on? And Tanya basically turns around and kind of does a little bit of reenactment of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective at the very end.
3 simple words. Finkel is Einhorn. That's all you need.
Yeah, so basically Tanya has revealed that she is actually a man. She refers to herself as being a sexually... I don't even want to get into this.
Yeah, let's just skip all that.
And the thing is, it really has little to nothing to do with the movie whatsoever.
This really didn't age well.
Yeah, we got to move on.
Oh my God. All right. Tanya reveals that, amongst a bunch of other stuff, that she stole $200,000 from the club that night, the strip club that she works at, the Kitty Cat Club. She's just heisted $200,000 from this club. Somehow unbeknownst to them for approximately, I'm going to guess, like, it's got to be at least 12 hours now. It's between last night and the next day. I'm giving them at least 12 hours. We could say 15 hours, but it's this club somehow has not missed $200,000. So she's got $200,000 that apparently she gave to them last night, and in a drunken stupor, again, with losing their car, they've lost this money. And so this lady threatens them and says, like, you better get your ass out there and find my money. So the boys hit the streets.
They decide that they need to go and meet up with their girlfriends, the twins. And once they arrive at their house, they see that the whole yard, the whole property of their home is completely trashed.
Yeah, the whole point of this scene here, it's really dumb and kind of stupid, and we just plow ahead through it. Basically what happens is they've kind of hidden the fact that their outside of the house is just trashed. It's just horrible. So they go inside, and the girls have basically cleaned up everything. They're like, you know what, girls, you just take a shower. We'll take all this stuff out to the curb. Don't worry about it. So they're like, oh, thanks, guys. And somehow they just buy that's just cool, that they're okay with just that, right? And they also gave them like a box of chocolates and ate like 90% of the chocolates out of this thing. So like, how are you with these losers? Like, it's time to be done with this. But anyways, so the boys they try to take out the garbage, and what happens is basically some gets snagged on the side here, and this disgusting like motor oil stuff comes spewing out everywhere, and the bags rip apart, and the girls come out and they just see there's just a giant mess everywhere, and they get booted out of the house. And as they get booted out of the house, they get picked up by some of my favorite people in this movie. So like, I love these guys. This is the weird Zoltan cult. This weird minivan kind of shows up out of nowhere, and these nerds pour out and they just grab Jesse and Chester and throw them in the van. And we find out that these guys are part of this weird sort of, I guess they're alien worshipping sort of nerd people.
Yeah, they're like a modern day new age cult. Not overly religious, but more so into the sci-fi aspects of stuff.
They're really infatuated with this guy named Zoltan. They even got this little sort of like Power Rangers move they do where they go Zoltan, and they sort of move their hands and make a Z out of it with their hands. Or a Z, or whatever you want to say.
It's funny, and they're very serious. They take themselves very seriously.
Yeah, and I guess the whole point of it is just they ask them if they've got the continuum trans functioner.
The only thing we really know about this device, and like you said, it comes up a whole bunch, is that it's one of the most mysterious and powerful devices in the universe, and its mystery is only exceeded by its power. So, and they repeat that. They go back to that line over and over. We just know it's some kind of device that this cult has been searching for a very long time.
Yeah, and I think that's also an important point too, that we should circle and just pencil in and highlight that apparently no one knows what this thing does or looks like. Yeah. So then, and that's where we're at with that. No one no one knows what this is or what this does. So they're like, you know what, guys, we'll keep an eye out for it, and if we see it, we'll let you know. And they're like, great, thanks, guys. And just remember, don't trust anybody because you're in grave danger. Sultan. And then they sort of just drop these guys off in front of a tailor's shop.
Yeah, it's like a tailor shop, dry cleaners type place. And the owner recognized them immediately, and he's like, "Come in, guys! I got your tailored suits that you ordered last night." Because I guess on their adventures that they don't remember, they got some tailored suits, and they're they're very like again like late '90s Adidas tracksuits. While they're getting undressed to change into their new suits, they realize that they have each gotten a tattoo. One of them has a tattoo on their back that says sweet, and the other one has a tattoo on their back that says dude. What happens next is a miscommunication with each other as they try to tell each other what each of their tattoos say. And Paul and I are going to show you what that sounds like. Just to make it really simple for you guys, Paul has a tattoo that says sweet. I have a tattoo that says dude. And we're both discovering that for the first time.
Dude, you got a tattoo.
Really? Oh, dude, you got a tattoo.
Dude, what does mine say?
Sweet. What's mine say?
Dude, what does mine say?
Sweet. What does mine say?
Dude, what does mine say?
Sweet. What does mine say?
Dude, what does mine say?
So that goes on for way too long, and be thankful we sped it up for you. The tailor gets really annoyed and explains the confusion here and tells them what their tattoos say, and basically tells them to get out, and also lets them know that their suits, their new track suits that they have, were installed with secret pockets. And out of their pocket, I think Jester's pocket, he's got this kaleidoscope, and I can't remember what does Jesse have in his pocket?
A Rubik's Cube?
Yeah, a Rubik's Cube. Yeah. So just keep a note about that.
I just want to make a note about these custom suits here. Like, I get a real qualm with calling these custom tailored suits. These are just Adidas track suits with Adidas t-shirts, okay? Unless this man, I guess, had copyright infringement and sewed a suit that looks exactly like an Adidas suit, which I don't think he did. I think they just bought a suit and he sewed a pocket in it for two guys. And somehow that's a custom suit. And where do these toys come from too? Like if he sewed in the pockets, where the hell did these toys come from?
It's like when they made the order for the suits, they were like, make sure you put these toys in some secret pockets too when you make them.
This is confusing to me too, because they also have cell phones in their pockets right now. Like they've just pulled cell phones out of their pockets and they're like, dude, we got phones. And then, as we're going to see in another second here, they pull out keys to a Mercedes that they have as well. Where the hell? They just picked these suits off the rack.
I don't know. So as soon as they realize that they've got this new car, they get really excited. And we go to this like music video where they're kind of like the clips of them driving in the car, this convertible. And
just bust a move.
Yeah, Just Bust a Move by Young MC is playing. And they're suddenly just at this giant pool party. And like, I don't understand. It's like a music video, or is this like a clip of last night? Because even like Ashton Kutcher is like looking at the camera and singing along, like rapping, like lip syncing to the song. So I'm not really sure what's going on. If this is supposed to be like the night before or what.
This is so confusing. You're right, because it's like they totally break the fourth wall. They're driving around in this car that they have now, and it's like when they saw the twins about 10 minutes ago, they had like $1.50 in their pockets, and they just had enough to get like a box of chocolates apparently that they ate most of. And somehow now they are just partying it up at a pool, throwing like $100 bills in the air and ejaculating sunscreen everywhere. and like none of this makes any sense. How the hell did this happen? And then now they're driving on the road and they meet Fabio.
Yeah, they're just at this stop, like a set of stoplights, and like next to them in the other car is Fabio and I guess presumably his girlfriend or date or something. And they're kind of like giving each other stares as if they're gonna like intimidation stares, as if they're going to like have a street race or something. And basically, Fabio just starts making it with his girlfriend, like show her off. And Jesse and Chester are like, well, we can do that. And they just start making it with each other. And and Fabio's like, all right, you beat me. I'm not doing that. And they drive off. And so that happened. I don't know what the point of any of it was. This must be some slow work in Fabio's life to be making cameo appearances like that.
Yeah, actually, this is an interesting question. Was this before or after the pigeon hit him in the face, do you think?
I can't remember. I think I'm pretty sure it was after.
Okay. Man, that would suck. Like, that's like pretty much one of my only fears about going on a roller coaster. It's just like some bird coming in and smashing you in the face.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for the birds. Nothing you can do. You're very vulnerable up there.
Yeah. Especially if you're you imagine you're a face model.
Yeah, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, but it is really funny that it happened to like one of the most popular face models in the world.
Yeah, that's like that episode in Seinfeld where, like George is a hand model and he accidentally like falls hand first into the iron, right? It's like that. Anyways, so it almost seems like they're like about, again, like 10 feet away from the tailors where they just walked out of about 3 minutes ago. And they're just walking down the road here and they run into these the next, I guess, these are sort of the antagonists of the movie we're going to find out. These are, as they describe them in this movie, the quote, 5 hot chicks with large breasts.
Yes, that's what these women refer to themselves as. No names.
That's right. We're going to find something out about them later. I don't really want to give anything away, but yeah, right now that's all you know about these women.
They want the continuum transfunctioner. One of the guys here has a popsicle, a really long popsicle, and the women tell them, if you can get me the continuum transfunctioner, then we will give you erotic pleasure. She takes the popsicle from his hand and proceeds to shove the whole popsicle in her mouth and cleans the popsicle right off with a stick. And Jesse and Chester are just in awe over this. So they're willing to do whatever they need to do to get that pleasure. Get that erotic pleasure from these 5 hot chicks with large breasts.
This is what I'm talking about, man. Like, again, this is like, they showed this at 7:00 at night, I swear to God, on TV. That's what was going on. And I remember watching this as a kid being like, because, Jesse and Chester are blown away by this. They're just like, they think this is the hottest thing ever. And when I was a kid, I had no idea what the hell was going on, So, and obviously now you're an adult, you're like, oh. But it's mind-blowing that this is marketed to children. Well, or like at least a younger audience, we'll say.
So they turn around, they decide they're going to, go for this erotic pleasure from these 5 girls. And, they turn around and out of nowhere is Tanya, the stripper that
you could just, the lady who, she has some money.
Yeah,
well,
she's got money.
That's exactly
Tanya with the money.
That is the only standout characteristic of this person.
Yeah. So Tanya, I don't know. She's like, "Where's my money, boys?" And I feel like it's only been like maybe 25 minutes, like since we saw her, if that. And they're like, "We don't have your money yet." So she's about to beat Jesse and Chester up, and these cops show up out of nowhere, like a whole bunch of cop cars. And they arrest Jesse and Chester. So they're in this interrogation meeting here. The cops want to know where they were between the hours of midnight and 2 a.m. The night before, this night that they can't remember. And because they were supposedly spotted at the scene of a major drug deal. They used some really weird interrogation techniques like beating up a dummy and stuff. It's pretty foolish. It's kind of funny. Yeah, like they're just beating up this dummy to show their strength, to try and intimidate them into telling the truth.
Putting cigarettes out on them and stuff.
That's right. Another police officer comes into the room and recognizes Jesse and Chester because they delivered a bunch of donuts to the cops the night before. And the interrogator says, "What time was that?" And he was like, "Oh, sometime between the hours of midnight and 2 a.m. And he was like, "Okay, well, you got an alibi. You're cleared." They go out to like the main office of the cop shop to retrieve their car because I guess it was impounded. And this goof of a receptionist here accidentally sends their car to the impound lot. So now they're on another search for they're still in the search for the car. However, now they have like kind of a location. They decide they're going to have to go to the they decide they're going to have to go to the impound lot to find their car.
So the boys leave the cop shop here. Obviously, they're a little more confused and they don't really know what the hell's going on. So they are going to the DMV. I guess that's kind of the next place we're supposed to go here. And they meet these 2 weird, I guess they're like Swedish. They're like I don't know, Scandinavian looking dudes. I'm going to call them Bjorn and Sven. I don't really think they have names in this movie.
If you know what the Proclaimers look like, the guys who sing "I would walk 500 miles," it looks like those two twins. Like they're almost identical to them, only a little bit more muscly with some kind of a European accent.
Yeah, some guy was named Johan or something, And and so they go, have you seen the Continuum Transfunctioner? And they give them the whole spiel again. They're like, dude, we have not seen this. We don't know what the hell you're talking about. Leave us alone. So they walk away. And for some reason, they kind of just stop off at their house now. I don't really know why. They just hang out at their house. They go to their house again and start watching Animal Planet. And they're watching monkeys, try to get ants out of little holes with sticks. And then the girlfriends come by and they tell them that they're sucky boyfriends. And they're like, we are sucky boyfriends. We got to go find that car. So they have this whole like complete non sequitur thing that happens. And then they're like, let's go look for a car again. Meanwhile, they have this kick-ass Mercedes that they could just sell that and just like buy presents with that thing. But we're going to go to the DMV. So the boys head to the DMV and, they go up to this lady and they're like, dude, where's my car? And so she punches some stuff in. She finds out, what? Turns out this guy actually put your car out for auction and your car's been sold. Someone bought the car and they were like, well, can we find out who this is? And she's like, I can't just tell you that. She's like, well, let me go ask my manager. We're going to find out in a second that this lady is a big joker. She really likes to just pull people's legs. Because what happens is Jesse and Chester are sitting there. She goes back to talk to her manager. She's like, asking if she can basically give them the info. And so Jesse and Chester are like, hey, like, let's see if we can grab that piece of paper. So Chester sticks his arm under and he's trying to grab this piece of paper. And the lady looks over and then they both just kind of pretend like they're not doing anything. They're just kind of like, nothing's going on. And then as soon as she looks away again, they go back and they're like, their faces are pressed up against the glass and they're trying desperately to get this thing. And all of a sudden, Chester's arm gets stuck and he can't pull it out. And she's coming by now. And she just basically grabs his arm and she like pretends she's going to just chop his arm off. He freaks out and he just like pulls it out with the paper and she's like, all right, see you guys later. Have a good day.
She's like laughing maniacally the whole time too.
Yeah, this lady is just screwing with these guys hard. I guess she can just give this information. You think that you probably couldn't. Just be like, who are you? Like, yeah, you own this car? Like, no, I don't think so, dude. You can't just walk in here and take this info. Get wrecked, right? Like, but, they give them the information. So the Swedish guys show up again at the DMV place and they sort of accost Jesse and Chester again one more time, like, have you seen the Continuum Transfunctioner? And they're like, you know what? Actually, we have. And they send them sort of off to a wild goose chase, which kind of ends up being the Chinese restaurant. They just end up going talking to that little the drive-through for like 20 minutes.
Meanwhile, Jesse and Chester are sitting in their convertible, and out of nowhere, one of the Zoltan cultists kind of like appears in the back seats and tasers them both. So next, like flash forward very quick, we see Jesse and Chester in like this room of a barn, and they only have their boxers on. So the two big guys from the cult here walk in with bubble wrap bodysuits. That's exactly what it is. They're wearing a bodysuit made of bubble wrap, and they have Jesse and Chester's clothes, and they hand them to him and tell them to get dressed because we're going inside. You would think that they were going to get them dressed in like one of their outfits, their bubble wrap outfits, but they're actually just giving them back their clothes. Why Jesse and Chester are undressed at all, like why they took their clothes just to give them back to them like an hour later is beyond me.
So I actually kind of remember this. When we, like a year and a half ago when we did this demo, and I watched this 100 times, I researched the hell out of this. And I actually found a deleted scene online. And what happened in the deleted scene was just like, the guys were like, we had to check you. And they're like, well, like our pockets? And they're like, no, we had to like check you. And so they kind of might have done some butt checking to them. It seems like just a throwback to Home Alone 3. They kind of did a little Beaupre. Little investigation, so that's apparently what happened. And that's why when you cut to the next scene, you sort of see Jesse and Chester looking back at the two dudes kind of with this weird gross look out, like, what the hell, man?
Well, without knowing that, it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, so just imagine like that one cut, that one like 5-second clip. This movie's like an hour and 20 minutes. You could have just put that in there. That would have just explained a lot more. So the weird bubble suit guys lead Jesse and Chester now with their clothes back on into this barn, sort of like in like it's like a weird, like it's a weird cult barn, I guess is what this is, So they all just like, it's like a commune, I guess is really what this is. And so the Zoltan guys, they stop at this hallway here and they're opening up a door, or at least they're trying to. And the one guy's like stumbling around with these keys, trying to open up them. And Jesse's just sitting there, kind of just being like, yo, hit him with the fire extinguisher. And Chester's like, yeah, that is a fire extinguisher. That's just kind of like, you just kind of see this nonverbal thing going on here. And eventually at some point, Jesse just gets really upset and grabs his fire extinguisher and just like mashes both of them in the head. And he's like, that's what I was trying to tell you. And he's like, oh, that's a good plan. So there's about 3 minutes of your life you're never going to get back. But I saved you about 2.5 minutes of that. So there you go. That's just the favors we're doing for you at Good Times and Bad Movies here.
Keep in mind, we're leaving out a lot of stuff too.
So Jesse and Chester now, they kind of roll these two dudes into this room, and they steal their spacesuits, and they're walking around this barn with these bubble wrap suits on. And all of a sudden, this alarm goes off here, and Jesse and Chester kind of panic, and they start putting their hoods up, and they kind of fall over a little bit, and they don't realize what's going on. And it turns out it's just a big sort of house commune Zoltan cult meeting. And so everybody has to gather into this barn, and they're all high-fiving each other, really excited and stuff here. This is a really fun little cult. I gotta say, these guys are hilarious. These bubble wrap dudes with their suits. And, this one dude just kills it on the keyboard here, plays his kick-ass music, and down comes the stair, comes their leader, the great and wonderful Zoltan.
We find out here that Zoltan and the rest of his cult have captured the twins, Jesse and Chester's girlfriends here. And basically they're holding him ransom until Jesse and Chester find this continuum transfunctioner. So they let them go to find it. Which I don't understand why, like, they did this already. Like, they kidnapped them once and let them go to find it, just to kidnap them again and make the stakes higher and tell them to go and find it. I don't know what the point of this is. Like, it seems like they should just wait a day and like give them time to actually go search for it. So anyways, their car was auctioned, and they have the address now of the person who purchased it. And it's in this private property, this large piece of private property. It's a gated property. They can't get in. So they climb over this gate, and I guess they're somewhere in the backyard. And it turns out it's an ostrich farm. So they're in this, like, I guess, like this private ostrich zoo.
Yeah, well, it seems like it's not even like a zoo. It's more just like this guy has ostriches as attack dogs. They're like almost like the velociraptors in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it's like this person who owns it. I guess I would call him the Ostrich King.
That's a great name for him, yeah. I saw an ostrich, and the ostrich saw a man. That bitch, Carol Baskin, stole my ostrich.
So Jesse and Chester here, man. They get chased around this piece of property by a whole bunch of ostriches, and they hide in this abandoned vehicle, and an ostrich gets in and knocks them both out with its head. The ostrich headbutts both of them and knocks them out. And then they wake up inside of a cage, like in a room, dark room, in a cage.
And if that wasn't scary enough, guess who is beside them? Andy Dick. That's already a nightmare right there.
Yeah, like a homeless Andy Dick. He's got like really long, dirty hair, long, dirty beard. I think he said he's been in there. He's been in captivity for like 3 years or something because he's an ostrich poacher. I don't know where this. I'm gonna just assume that they're in California, right? This looks like California, and
kinda.
And there's ostrich poachers going around. People break into this guy's property to shoot ostriches, I guess.
I love this guy though. Like Andy Dick, you know what he looks like? You mentioned he looks like a homeless guy, kind of, and it's almost like, you remember in Jumanji when Robin Williams gets sucked in the jungle and he comes back and he's all wild. That's exactly what Andy Dick looks like in this movie. So if you just put yourself in those shoes, folks. You just got knocked out by an ostrich, okay? You wake up in a cage, and Andy Dick, who looks like he's Alan in Jumanji, is sitting beside you, okay? This is horrible.
Yeah, he tells you he's been here for 3 years. So anyways, no sooner, the owner of this ostrich zoo farm or whatever it is comes in, and does he say what his name is? I'm going to say his name's Pierre. It's that because he's just a French stereotype. That's all this guy is. And of course, his name's Pierre. He is obsessed with ostriches, and he tells them, people keep breaking into my property to kill my ostriches, and now you're going to pay the price. You're going to be in this cage. And they're kind of trying to convince him to let him out. And he says, the only way... Oh, by the way, This guy, Pierre, it's Data from Star Trek, Next Generations. And he's French. So just imagine Data dressed up as like playing like the most extreme French stereotype you've ever seen.
The beret and the little scarf. It's amazing.
That's right. You got Pierre here. And he tells Jesse and Chester that if they can tell him how fast the average ostrich can run, he will let them go. They're lucky because, they've just been binging on Animal Planet nonstop. So Chester here, he knows exactly how fast an ostrich can run. I guess like 27 miles per hour.
That's right.
Pierre is just blown away with excitement. He's just overjoyed and decides to let them out. I don't get this at all. Why would you... Like, let's just say, hypothetically, I have a farm with animals and somebody tried to break into my farm and shoot my animals, poach them or whatever. Not for a second I would consider letting them go on the condition that they can answer some random trivia question about the animals that I have.
Also, if you're a poacher too, you probably know stuff about the animal you're poaching, right? You might be an idiot. You could be, but I feel like you would kind of know some of this general knowledge about this animal.
Well, yeah, I think you probably would know how fast they'd run.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But, Pierre, he lets Jesse and Chester out. And so they're like, dude, where's our car? And he's like, oh, I have your car up here. Come, let's go get it. And then they go outside and sacre bleu, the car is gone. It's not there anymore. They don't know where this car is. It's just disappeared. So Pierre literally has no clue where this car is now.
Except he has one little item that he took from the car, which was, it's a key for a lockbox at a local arcade, I guess, like a fun arcade for kids. It's like a Chuck E. Cheese for kids. It's called Captain Stu's Space-O-Rama.
Yeah, it's like a mini putt kind of arcade place.
It's where you take your kids for a birthday or something. So they are off to Captain Stu's Space-O-Rama. See you later, Pierre.
Au revoir. A bientôt.
So Jesse and Chester here, they arrive at Captain Stu's Space-O-Rama, and they ask one of the workers, one of the staff, to show them to the lockers. So they go to their locker, and they're just about to open it before Tanya, the stripper from earlier, meets them there, and she's like, "Where's my money?" Oh, and she also has this. Oh my gosh,
her boyfriend.
She has her husband sitting, her boyfriend here, whom has a painted-on mustache. I think the joke here is Patty looks like Jennifer Love Hewitt dressed up as Prince, and she has a painted-on mustache.
Oh my God. Wow, that is an immaculate comparison, sir. That is you're right. She looks like Jennifer Love Hewitt dressed as Prince. I just thought Prince at first, but that Jennifer Love Hewitt, that is wow. If cross section of Jennifer Love Hewitt and Prince in 93 is that's your guy, or that's your Patty, I should say. I don't know.
Now, Tanya and Patty are waiting for their money. Jesse and Chester open the locker. They find the briefcase with the money. Tanya and Patty are overjoyed. They make out. Patty's painted-on mustache is smearing all over their face. So as soon as they turn back, they look filthy. I don't know what the point of that was at all. Moving on. Jesse and Chester go through the remaining contents of the locker here. They find a bunch of tickets and just different things from last night. Oh yeah, and a straw, one of those funny straws, a swirly straw, yeah. And they devise a plan. They're going to contact everybody. They're going to buy a toy at this place and call it the continuum transfunctioner and pass it off as the real thing, because they believe that nobody actually knows what this thing looks like because no one's been able to describe it to them. So Jesse and Chester are playing some games, and then everybody shows up at the same time. We've got our 5 hot chicks with large breasts, the jock goons, Christy Boner, the 2 muscled Europeans that are looking for the continuum transfunctioner, and the Zoltan clan.
Everybody's here. It's just a giant. This is some weird comedy special where they just had a bunch of guests and they had to bring them in. They bring them in little skits, and at the end, it's they bring in everybody at the end. Here you go. It's a big song and dance number.
So they realize here that what they pass off as the continuous transfunctioner was a lie, because the 2 Europeans know this little spaceship toy thing that they have looks like a pleasure tool or like a pleasure toy or something if you didn't know any better.
A personal massager, Tim. They're called personal massagers,
Yeah,
right?
personal massagers. Yeah, they know that that's not the continuum transfunctioner. Meanwhile, Chester is playing with the Rubik's cube and finally solves it. As soon as he solves it, it starts like levitating out of his hands and morphs into this. I'll call it a space ball. I don't know what it is. It's just a silver ball with a bunch of lights on it and stuff. And the point is that this sphere with the lights this is the continuum transfunctioner that everyone's been looking for.
Earlier in this episode, when I mentioned, like, just remember that nobody has seen this thing or knows what this does, okay? And even the cult said that. They're like, we don't know what this does. We don't really understand this thing. But then all of a sudden, once they crack the Rubik's Cube and figure it out and solve it, and it turns into this continuum transfunctioner, there's all these lights flashing on and these buttons, and the guys are like, what is this? And Zoltan, it just explains perfectly what this thing is. And he says it's just going to apparently blow up the whole universe if all these lights stop flashing. So somehow this man knows how this thing works, even though this entire movie, everybody you have met that has mentioned the continuum transfunctioner said it is mysterious and we don't know how it works, except for these two guys, Sven and Bjorn. They're the only two dudes that actually kind of know how this thing works because they're the keepers of this thing. Then they somehow lost it. So like this whole thing is so weird, but like just like, you know, I know we're trying to make logic out of a stupid pseudo stoner movie, but it really doesn't make any sense, right?
As soon as they hand it over to the two Europeans to keep for safety, the 5 hot chicks with large breasts basically scream and morph into each other as one and turn into this giant hot alien, and then that's what they're referred to on the screen. Like it pauses. She turns into. It's actually like one of like the Playboy Playmates of the year of 2000. It turns into her. She's just this giant, really attractive woman. She's chasing Jesse and Chester around this amusement park trying to get this continuum transfunctioner device. Jesse and Chester are cornered here in the mini putt with this ball, this continuum transfunctioner, and this giant woman is closing in on them, and she's about to, I don't know, squish them, grab them, or take the continuum transfunctioner away. I don't know. And they're being yelled at by like other people, like the Europeans and some other randoms in the movie, that you got to press this one button, but it's like so thin, it's like you can't press it with your finger. Like the spot where you need to press it is like a really narrow hole. And Chester remembers that he has the swirly straw, so he used the swirly straw to poke it. And then the continuum transfunctioner lights up, and this laser comes out and shoots this giant supermodel, and she explodes. But right before she explodes, here's what she says.
Oh boy.
And then kaboom. It's
oh boy.
Oh boy.
It would have been better to have that whoopsie from Mortal Kombat or something.
Yeah, that would have been kind of funny.
That would have been amazing.
So yeah, and it's such a weird thing. I don't know why she said it like that.
It's probably one of the best parts and the grossest parts too here is like after this hot chick explodes, this giant hot chick explodes, out of nowhere comes this dude, Tommy, the big jock dude, and he is now covered in what looks like, we'll say, is Nutella.
Yeah.
Okay? And a giant pair of underwear lands on him. It's so gross. I mean, clearly it's not that, but like, you know, it's like that's disgusting. That's like in Caddyshack when they put the chocolate bar in the pool. That's gross. You know what it is. You know it's no Henry, but like, come on.
So Jesse and Chester here, they're still really annoyed because they don't have their car. The Europeans here are about to erase their memories. They have a stolen prop from Men in Black, and they're about to erase their memories. And then, but before they do, though, Jesse and Chester are like, I wish we could just figure out a way to do this, like, so we could still have our presents for our girlfriends. And they're like, oh, we can just, like, send you back in time as if none of this ever happened. I think that's what happened. Because they use their little device that they don't name. And you kind of see, like, a little bit of a rewind clips from the whole movie itself. And then we wake up in the exact same scene as at the very beginning of the movie when Jesse and Chester are waking up. It's the night after the party. So they just time traveled back to the beginning of the movie, I think. So we get a replay basically from the very beginning of the movie, and they're listening to their voice messages and find out that it's their girlfriend's anniversary, and they need to go to the car to get their gifts. They go out, And they go through the same thing. They don't see their car, and they're like, dude, where's my car? Where's my car, dude? And going through that whole silly thing again. And then a mail truck that's parked across the street pulls away, and their car is sitting there. It's a piece of crap car, by the way.
So it looks like Jesse and Chester have now found their car. It looks like. Anyways, so they drive over to their girlfriends' houses, and they give them these little bracelets they have for them. And the girls go to give them their special treats, and the guys are really excited. And they find out they're just a couple of stupid berets with their names like on their hats. And it's like, wow, thanks, guys. And what also happens is there's a secret little present that the aliens have slipped in for the guys as well, too. And there are necklaces. And when the girls put these necklaces on, the twins, I guess, just to use the verbiage of this movie, their hoo-hoos grow rather large immediately. And the dudes are like, sweet. And the girls just apparently are just okay with it. They have just seen their chest enlarge literally in front of them, in front of their eyes. And they are okay with that. And that's just it. The movie kind of wipes out, and now everyone's driving down the road, and the boys realize they have tattoos. That's another thing. So they actually did get tattoos. So some of this night actually did happen.
Yeah, so it's weird. It seemed like the whole night was like erased. But okay, let's just do this. That's the end of the movie. So let's talk about that ending. So right from what you said, it seems like the whole night got erased. However, they still had their tattoos. So I'm not really sure if they only erased like certain events, or they just erased their memory of the night, and they teleported their car to make sure. I don't understand how this worked.
Yeah, I don't know. And it seems like some of this night actually did happen. And they've just erased the part with the aliens who are dead or something. I don't really see, this is the thing. I don't really understand time travel movies too much, because I feel like there's so much malleability with the rules that you could just kind of play with it and it can be whatever. Because they don't really explain that either in this movie. So I guess they've warped, or they've at least erased their brains and kind of gone back in time. So some of this stuff has happened, it seems like, because like they have tattoos and they have gifts now. So I like, where was their car this whole time? Like, I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out, is like, where was their car before the aliens fixed everything in their world? Where the hell was their car? Because it wasn't at the Guy Pearce house. So where did that car go?
I have no idea. And it's kind of like you said, like, time travel is a hard thing to deal with anyways. Even the best of movies that deal with time travel, there's like a lot of questions. With this one, I don't even think they make any attempt for it to make sense whatsoever. And I think that's why they don't literally come out and say it's time travel, because the ending, this movie really doesn't make any sense. The ending of it doesn't help it any either.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, the less you explain, the better it is. You know, because the more you explain and the more you try to reveal and paint a picture of it, just the more you're like, what the hell am I watching? This isn't grounded to anything. You know, it's like if you had like a chair that just had one leg and was somehow standing up, you're like, that doesn't make sense. So you can't really show people that part. You can kind of just show them one angle where it looks like the rest of the chair's there.
Another gripe I have is the whole plot of the movie is revolving around them trying to, find the car, but they're looking for the car because they need to give their girlfriends gifts for their anniversary. The gifts are in the car. So, like, even, like, not even halfway through the movie, they get their Mercedes and, like, these tailored suits, tracksuits. It seems like their problems are solved immediately. Like, you have a car that's, like, easily, like, 10 times more valuable than the car that you're searching for. Couldn't you, like, and you have all this money, like, why don't you just go and buy new gifts and keep this car, this awesome one? Like, why are you even, I don't understand. Why are they going through all this?
Thank you. Yes. They were literally throwing money around with a bunch of women in a scene before that. You could just go out and buy them something at this point and be like, guess what, girls? We screwed up. But guess what? We have all this money right now. We bought you plane tickets to like Vegas for the weekend. We're going to go party and hang out. Wouldn't that be so cool? Or like, we're going to check out this Mercedes. We're going to go to the beach and we're going to like, we got a hotel or something. Like you could just do whatever at that point. You can take them for dinner. You can just take them shopping. Like you could sell the Mercedes if you wanted to.
Yeah. Another problem I have with this is that Jesse and Chester aren't even likable. Like, you want to root for something? I'm rooting for the Zoltan cult. Like, I would rather see a whole movie based on that Zoltan cult than Jesse and Chester, because like the one, it's endearing that this whole movie is based on them trying to please their girlfriends. However, for a good portion of the movie, while they're searching for these gifts, they're hitting on other women, gawking at them, touching their breasts. They've even revealed that the night prior, he was in the back seat of a car that he paid Christy Boner $500 for her to like flash them and stuff. So like, what kind of, these are crappy boyfriends. They're stupid, like all around stupid. They're dumb. Halfway through the movie, you're wondering like, why am I even rooting for them?
You know, me as a 13-year-old or whatever it was at this point, I guess it's about 13 years old. So like, yeah, this was like, this was probably my intelligence level at that point, you know, so it makes sense for that. But everybody else, yeah, I don't understand. Like past the age of like maybe 18, I don't get it. I don't know. I'd be like, this not for me, man. We're good here. You're right. They are very unlikable. But I also thought it was weird though, because like I like the Zoltan cult, but I mean, you know, they threaten to murder the girlfriends too, and they kidnap them and stuff. So they're not really nice people either, right? But I just, one thing I thought was stupid about the Zoltan people was just that somehow they are able to intercept and decode alien transmissions to figure out what this continuum transfunctioner does, right? Even though apparently they've just been lying to everybody. That's fine. But why do you think bubble wrap suits will work in space?
I don't know. I think they were just looking for anything to be silly, and they had a really low budget.
I guess, but it's like, just the logic doesn't track there. It's like, guys, we're smart enough to make these satellites or whatever, like intercept satellites or whatever it is, somehow get these transmissions that no one else knows about, apparently. It's just them. These people in this barn in the middle of nowhere, okay? These bubble wrap suits, like they can figure this out, but no one else can, right? Like, I was just like, guys, like, I don't know. It would be interesting to see a whole movie on just those guys, I think, though.
I'd be far more interested. This doesn't happen too often. I will never watch this ever again. I will never, ever go out of my way to see any portion of this movie ever again for the rest of my life.
So I think there's only a few movies that made that list for you right now. I almost feel like it's like this movie, so like Dude, Where's My Car, The Fanatic, and maybe The Labyrinth.
Yeah, no, I would consider even watching Labyrinth again. The Star Wars Holiday Special, that's one that's up there. I'll never ever. Well, you know, actually, just for people who haven't seen it, people who don't know about it, I really do enjoy showing them that and just getting their reaction. But no, not this movie. Never ever.
Yeah, just love watching their dreams die before their eyes. Yeah, I do. It's just, I'm blown away when we go through this whole movie that this was just on TV at 7:00 at night, and just like, here you go.
A good portion of this hasn't aged very well. Like, we really had to dance around even explaining a lot of these scenes, and that's kind of never fun.
What a wild and wacky movie. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, this was one of those movies I felt like like I said, you know, it's rated PG-13 and it's on TV, but it's like one of those movies where you wanted to watch certain parts when your parents were like out of the room. You're like, okay, they're going to the kitty cat club. I hope my parents are going to take a leak right now or something, or going to, you know, check the dishwasher or something, because I don't want them to see the next 3 minutes of this movie. So maybe you change the channel or something and you come back after that, right? But yeah, like you said, probably don't have much interest in ever watching this again, thankfully. I think we were talking about this before, right? That they were open to doing some sort of a sequel to this movie, but they wanted it to be kind of like, I think it was like dark or something like that, right?
They wanted to make it darker, and I guess that was supposedly the intention with this movie as well, but studio pressure and, I don't know, writers and whatnot, it just didn't end up that way. But I think this could work, like you said, like, because it's confusing as to for what demographic this movie is about. I think if they would have went all in on making it like maybe rated R, they might have been able to push it in a way that wasn't so juvenile and actually like make it like a dark comedy. That could probably work better. I mean, granted, they still have to probably change a lot of the content they have, considering you know, the year that we're in these days, the present time. But I think you would have a better chance at being more successful.
How did you even come up with the concept of this movie of Dude, Where's My Car? They're just like, so it's two guys and they don't know where their car is.
I think it legitimately could have been made by stoners. Like, the people were sitting on the couch, got really high, and they were like, okay, he's looking for his car. Now what? And just like do this, and they just have this hodgepodge of wacky ideas, and they're just like, okay, let's string this together in a movie.
Yeah, it's just like they got Ashton Kutcher and Charlie Williams got fake high, and just were like, all right, let's wander around town, and we'll have people walk up and say stuff to you and ask you about a continuum transfunctioner. So, you know, again, I think that's a really good place to leave it. We really don't need to say any more about this movie because,
dude, I don't care.
Sweet.
Is there any chance you guys would ever make a sequel?
There is actually a script. It's called Seriously, Dude, Where's My Car?